everybody's heard of Truth Social. That is nothing more than Donald Trump's own Twitter, his own paradise in Twitter. Well, he got that after he was kicked off of Twitter for, doing what he normally does best, lie and insult and demean, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, he turned that into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. But you know what? Is it really a multi-billion enterprise or nothing more than well, I tell you what, listen to this report that Stephanie Rule did on MSNBC, and then we'll take it on the other side.
You know, we have been covering DJT stock since before it hit the market in March. Well, today it closed a little over $26 a share. That is down more than 44% in the past 3 months. That's a lot. But you know what else is a lot? The billions that Donald Trump's stake is still worth. We have told you how overvalued this company is. It doesn't actually do anything. How the business loses millions and millions of dollars every quarter. But what we have not talked about yet is how it could impact a second Trump presidency. The New York Magazine, David Freelander, writes that it would be an unprecedented opportunity for corruption. David joins me now. He's a contributing editor for New York Magazine. His piece is a must read. David, explain to us the scale of corruption we could be looking at.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a little hard to fathom, frankly. This is going to be just a way for folks to put money into Donald Trump's pocket. We won't always know who's doing it. I mean, it could be foreign oligarchs. It could be corporate CEOs. It could be anybody who wants anything from the federal government. It could be the federal government itself. In many ways, it's sort of the capacity for corruption is much deeper than it would be even with the hotel that he operated in Washington, D.C. for his first term, or with the club that he runs in Florida.
Okay, but that's kind of the thing. On one level, why should we be surprised, right? When he was president, we saw it with Trump International Hotels, with everybody from the Chinese government to every lobbying group holding events at Trump properties. The U.S. Secret Service spending an enormous amount of money at all of his properties. This is Trump's MO, right? When you see the forming of DJT, his own sons walking in saying, we need a cut. Right? Donald Trump's body men, his PR guys wanting a piece of all this. And suddenly this is A-OK. Trump thinks no problem and people are happy to buy the stock and play along with this.
I mean, they seem to be. You touched on something there, which I think has sort of been a little bit under-discussed and under-reported. One thing I learned in the process of doing the story is this sort of microeconomy of Trump world, where all these people who are around him, actually sort of offer themselves as kind of consultants to anybody who sort of wants something from Donald Trump, often for thousands or tens of thousands of dollars a month, as quote unquote consultants. And then, his children come in and they also kind of want a stake. So everybody sort of has their hand out, for whatever, entity and enterprise Donald Trump is engaged in.
This seems egregious. It seems like it should be illegal. However, talk to us about the impact of recent Supreme Court decisions in this instance, because it seems like they're looking to make this easier for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually, from my understanding, it's sort of less of a clear-cut emoluments violation than the hotel was. That was a little bit clearer than this. It would be very hard to stop anybody who wanted to sort of influence a president, if he is the next president, from buying the stock, because you are just sort of buying a stock from a stockbroker on the exchange or whatever. It's not, even though the money kind of directly then goes to Donald Trump, it is a little step removed. So I think it's a more of a gray area. And of course, this Supreme Court has not shown any inclination to sort of curb any of this kind of thing. So, I mean, I think it's going to be could be like the Wild West out here.
The Wild West out here, or we're going to turn into mini Russia with little oligarchs planted around Trump. Talk to us in your reporting. I mean, it's extensive and extraordinary reporting. What are some of the strangest, most unusual things, the wows that you learned in digging into DJT, this company, this stock, the billions that he has? on paper.
I mean, I think, one thing, is, to be clear, is like he is seemingly going to get, regardless of what happens, fabulously wealthy again on this. I mean, he will probably make up, all the money that he owes, in civil fines, once this thing, he eventually sells his shares, which, he'll probably do after the election, win or lose. I think is one thing that folks should be aware of.
That he is going to become fabulously wealthy no matter what happens. What do you think is going to happen come September when he can dump this thing?
I think the likeliest thing is that he doesn't dump it. I mean, I think the sort of stock would kind of crater a little bit should he do that. I mean, this is like he can just sort of, it's a cash cow for him. It will be for the foreseeable future. So even though, as you say, there is no real business here, I think he's going to hold on to it, for sort of until, after the presidential election. And then, of course, we'll just have to see. I mean, if he's in the Oval Office, I think he'll probably hold on to it as well. I mean, he didn't, divest beforehand for many of his holdings, so I don't see why he would now.
There is no real business here, yet scores of people have bought up this stock. People at home watching, think about it. Why are they buying it? What do they want?
So the question is, first of all, you guys know what I feel about the stock market. The stock market is one of the most expensive legal casino on the planet. That's what the stock market is. And the whole stock mechanism, as I see it, is nothing more than legalized fraud. I mean, Wall Street, as defined by Bernie Sanders, is fraud. So, I mean, I think it's time for us to understand, using Truth Social, how it is really so. How can Donald Trump have a company, DJT, in other words, Truth Social, that loses millions every quarter and it's valuated at billions of dollars with no prospect of becoming a social media behemoth? Think about that. That is nothing more than something that can be used to launder money by creating a false demand on that stock to appreciate the price and have Trump unload a few $1 billion of it. This is what we've come to. It is time for us to have true regulations on the capitalist portion of our economy. And first of all, it is incumbent on us to bifurcate the economy so that these shenanigans can just affect the few instead of affect the many, by allowing a former president, a has-been president, to launder the economic system for his own personal gain.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.